Welcome to the first weekly Cyber Review. I'm Cybercopy and I'm here with Honto Shinobi.
Hello.
Yeah, alright, and we're going to be reviewing the game Brutal Legends, which we both played last week, I guess you could say. We're going to be going over the audio, graphics, gameplay, and the storyline and giving it a total score out of 100. So, yeah. The game's rated mature, but you said there's options in there to like take off gore, right?
Yeah, during the storyline, it gives you the option to censor both visual explicits as well as audio, and then you can also turn off the gore, and it actually redoes the animations to where it doesn't include the gore. It's not that it's blocking it out; it just redoes the whole animation of that scene.
That's pretty cool. Alright,
Mhm.
so the game I think originally came out in 2009 on consoles, and then was ported over last month on February 26th. It was the release date. And so let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna talk about audio real quick. All right, so under audio we got voiceovers, music, game sounds, and in my opinions on them. So I felt the voiceovers were done really well, even though some of the parts were kind of iffy during like cinematics and stuff. But they got really good voice actors. I think Jack Black was the main character, and then they had Ozzy and some other rock people and a couple of comedians. And as for music, I thought the music was really good. It had a lot of rock music and a lot of old music that I really enjoyed. But the one downfall I kind of maybe took a little bit off the score for that was that it was only rock music, so maybe that would only appeal to specific people. And for game sounds, I think the effects, I think they felt a little bit off when like you'd use an attack. I think the sound effects were a little bit off, and in reaction, I guess you could say with that. What did you think about those three?
When it comes to voiceovers, I really liked it. I mean, I do like Jack Black. I think he is a really good voice actor. They've used him for a lot these days. He's in a lot of movies and things like that, and I think he is able to portray characters pretty well. And I think that Ozzy and a lot of those other characters I would have expected to not be really convincing in their voice acting roles, but I think they did pretty good as well. So I think that the voiceovers were really good. Music, I'm not a big rock fan. I listen to it on occasion. I don't dislike it, and I think that for the premise of the game, it fits it. I mean, you're right. It's not going to really fit with everyone's choices or preferences, but I think it still works. And then in terms of game sounds, I think that the game sounds fit. I didn't really notice anything about them being off sync or anything like that. So I think it was sufficient.
Okay, that's fair, I guess you could say. So I guess let's talk about graphics next. Quality and cinematic slash the videos that were in it. As for quality, I think because it was a port, it was pretty glitchy at some points. Like I remember like attacking and then like it not really doing that. It kind of bugged out a couple times for me. I don't know about you. And the cinematics, I actually really like those because I don't know if you noticed, but in some of the can't say that cinematics, there was if you got upgrades for your weapons or for your car, and that was in one of the scenes, you could actually see those upgrades. Like I think on the axe, I got the lightning upgrade, and in the cinematics, you'd always have the lightning on the axe now. So that was pretty cool, and I really liked that they did that. What do you think about those two?
I think of the overall graphics. I mean, I know that it was made in 2009. I do think that they probably could have done a lot more in terms of the graphics. I think it was purposely put to be somewhat cartoony, but I think it was pretty smooth for the way that they were going for it. And I didn't notice a lot of visual bugs or anything like that. And you normally will in those kinds of free roam games, because I know that in between quests and things like that, it just lets you roam around on the map. And I didn't encounter any bugs when just roaming around on the map, which usually you will find in those kind of free roaming games. So they did pretty well with that. And in terms of the cinematics, I didn't mind watching the cinematics. I know that in a lot of games, if I'm not really into the storyline, the cinematics I won't really want to follow those. But when it comes, and I'm kind of skipping ahead there, but when it comes to the cinematics, I think that they were done well and they kept your interest.
Okay. All right. So next, let's move on to the gameplay. All right. So we got movement. slash reaction time, controls, and the key bindings, and the balance and difficulty. So let's start off. The movement, it was honestly, I thought it was a little slow. I don't know. I just when I pressed something and I was getting ready to use the combo and like turn around and hit somebody behind me, I felt it was a little slow, and sometimes I'd get attacked from the back even though I was trying to turn around and get to him. It just seemed a little slow to me as far as the reaction time. And for the movement, I actually did get stuck once in the car. I jumped off something and I got stuck in a rock and I couldn't get out. So that's another, it's kind of a bug, I guess you could say. The controls, they were fine though. The moving with WASD and then using 1 through 4 to command your troops and stuff like that, and left mouse, right mouse for attacks. That was easy. You could rebind most of those, I believe. And for the balance, I thought that the balance was really, really, really nice. I didn't die too much. On the parts I did, it was kind of me testing out if I could take on a whole army just by myself with the new upgrades I got, which I never really could. So I wasn't OP enough to kill a whole army by myself. I actually needed my army. So that was pretty cool. And as for the boss fights, it kind of reminded me of old school system gaming. You'd have to do something 3 times in a row to kill the specific boss. I think is the second boss, or the first actual physical boss you fight. You have to go over and power slam these little crates carrying coal while he's standing under them to stun him, and then you go attack him, and you have to repeat that 3 times to defeat him. And I really enjoyed that, having that feeling. What are your opinions?
When it comes to movement and reaction time, I thought that the attacks did seem to have a little bit of a delay, but I think it was done that way on purpose for the aspect of the visuals to it and everything. But I don't think that it was really awkward or anything like that. I mean, definitely you could still move around. And when it comes to the controls and the keybinds, I thought that they worked. Some of the buttons, like the auto targeting, was kind of a little bit of a reach, but I know that with most computer games, they use control and things like that are, for me, I prefer to rebind those keys to something a little bit closer. And I didn't check to see if there was a rebinding option. For the most part, I didn't actually use the auto targeting. I would just target it myself, and I was still able to do what I needed to with that. When it comes to the balance and the difficulty, I played it on easy. It seemed pretty easy through the game itself. I like how it kind of changes around the way that the game is played, though. I mean, depending upon what it is, it switches back and forth between genres, between just roaming around being yourself and, like you said, controlling armies and going against bosses. So it has a lot of depth in that aspect. So I think it's it doesn't really kind of keeps your attention a little bit more because you're not always doing the same hack and slash.
Yeah, I totally forgot about the auto aim. I did use it once or twice, but I really kind of forgot it was ever there. It didn't really seem too necessary for me.
The only time I really accessed the auto aim was in aspects where you could only kill something with your ranged attack.
Yeah.
Then I would turn it on for that because I might as well, but even then I didn't really need to. As long as I'm facing it, my attacks would be hitting what I'm going towards.
Yeah, I thought the auto targeting was already pretty good. All right, so the next thing to talk about is the storyline, which is for characters and the how engaging it is and how does it flow? Is it bumpy? Is it good? So starting with characters, I thought honestly everything is really nice. Every character kind of had a background and you followed their storyline throughout the game. Even some of the side missions you did, when you completed a quest, that character would say something from the other quest. I remember getting cussed out because I was beating this hunter at killing stuff, and he was swearing at me because he's so mad I was destroying his records. And for the engaging and flow, it was really good. I kind of felt like part of the story. I wanted to finish the story even after I was kind of done reviewing it. Around 2.5 hours review. I spent another 3 hours actually finishing the game because it was a really good storyline. I felt kind of drove me to keep playing, find out what happens. So what were your opinions on those?
I think the characters were definitely identifiable. I mean, obviously, I'm not really into rock and things like that, but they were able to, make it to where you can identify with the main character and kind of root for him. And, there was entertainment in it, and some of the characters, even though they weren't, as far as I know, I mean, they could have all been based after rockers, but, some of the other characters, you could kind of get a feel for this little rock world that they were put into, and it was interesting. When it comes to the flow of the game, I mean, I definitely, like I said, I think it kept my attention a lot more because of how it changes up the gameplay. The one thing I could say overall I didn't like too much about the game was the little weird solo things you had to do in order to access stuff, and it wasn't so much that you had to access, key things with it. It's similar to Zelda in that sense when you had to play the ocarina in the Ocarina of Time and things like that. But having to use them for attacks, it was just really delayed. It was almost wasn't worth using those special abilities because of how long it took for them to launch. But I mean, in terms of the flow of the game, like I said, it changes up, how you're playing from roaming around, controlling an army to being solo. So that definitely kept my attention, and I think it was well-rounded.
Yeah, yeah. Overall, I thought the game was really great. So I guess this is the part where we both give our scores, what we thought out of 100. My total is 84, and what's yours?
83.
83. All right. So we both felt the game was, above average. Score B. It's a pretty good grade if you're in school, right? So this is
Yeah, not too bad.
yeah. This is kind of like a beta. I would say my review style. What I have on here. If you want, you can check it out on the Google Docs on my main page link. So, how did you like it? Was everything followable? Was there anything you might change about it? The review system.
Well, I mean, it's kind of hard at first to understand just by the categories themselves, how you would score it just by looking at it, because I didn't know exactly what you meant by the verbiage that you used.
Yeah.
But when you updated your document and you added in, a description of what each one of those categories entails, then I think that kind of brought it together. There might be some tweakings that need to be done in terms of maybe including something that talks about a rating system or gore or something like that if we're going to be, reviewing things where, parents might be concerned or something like that. And there might be some tweaking in terms of, how many points there are for each thing. But I think it's the way it has here. There might be a little bit too much emphasis on audio, since there's 30 points for that category. I think that a lot of people are more looking at graphics, storyline, and gameplay. But it's even more so just graphics and gameplay for the most part. I'm not really a very stickler about graphics, so I think 20 is fine for graphics, but I don't know. It just depends upon what people determine is more important to them about a game.
Yeah, I could change a little bit about that. Probably take 5 points out of audio and put 5 points into graphics, make them even, 25 points each. And like you said,
Sure.
add in something like a gore factor or something like that, violence, adult
I don't know. I
language.
mean, I don't know if it would necessarily have to be part of the score, but you could have something in there that talks about I'm trying to think of a verbiage for it, I can't really think of a verbiage for it, but whatever it would be in terms of how widely received it could be, because obviously there's a lot of games out there that are only geared towards adults, and they're really going to be the only ones that we recommend that they play, where ones that have something for everyone. And I know this game is mature, but it does give you the options of shutting off the cursing and everything, so I think that a lot of parents out there would be okay with letting their kids play this one over something like Call of Duty or something that's obviously a lot more gory and adult themed.
Yeah, I understand. And since most of the music is older, maybe their parents would kind of like that. It reminds them of their glory days. I don't know. But yeah, these are our own opinions, so don't take them to heart. If you think the game's a little different, leave a comment below. Score out what you felt the game was. Go ahead and use my review on the Google Docs, and yeah, I do require you play at least an hour before you give me a review. Don't just go oh yeah, it got a 90 because I said so. So I felt this is trying to bring the community together, give game reviews of how it goes. Actually, I just looked up and the Metascore was actually 82. So we scored it a little higher than the Metascore, but we didn't review the multiplayer at all. So I don't know if
Right.
you want to talk a little bit about that or no.
I honestly didn't even play the multiplayer. I was going to play it with you and then see what I thought about it.
Yeah.
Isn't the multiplayer just kind of that, you know, minion control type style where you're controlling your little armies or whatever?
Yeah, it's army versus army. You fight over the towers and try to kill the other person's stage. So I don't know. I played a little bit of that because you could access it during the beta, and I thought it was really fun. I don't
It
know.
sounds fun. I think I probably would get more enjoyment out of the freedom of the story mode, and I think that's an area of opportunity. There might have been maybe a co-op of the storyline, but that might be kind of difficult to swing with the storyline unless maybe they gave you the option when you could have a character that goes along with for a mission. Maybe it gives you the option of having that person be player controlled or something like that. So
Yeah.
I think that's always an area of opportunity with a lot of games out there because a lot of people expect a lot of multiplayer because with MMOs and things like that, that's a big opportunity for every game that comes out to reach more people as if they give multiplayer and co-op some attention.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's the end of this review. Just so everybody knows, this developer was Double Fine, so they have done some great things in the past. I think they did The Cave, Psychonauts. What else did they do? It was recent. They're doing. They had a Kickstarter recently, actually. I don't know if you know about that.
Kickstarter. I'm not sure what the verbiage is.
Oh, okay. Kickstarter. It's kind of like a site you go to, and you can donate money towards a project, and you get rewards for that. And then once they reach a certain goal, they can continue on with their project, like making video games. I think they just recently did one of those earlier last year, I think, and they should be having another game coming up pretty soon.
Do you know what's coming out next?
No, I currently don't know.
All right.
But thanks for watching. Hope you guys took our views not to heart, but into consideration. And I guess we'll see you on our next weekly review.
Yeah, and definitely let us know what you guys think, because it's not really even so much about us as getting the community involved, because I know that when I check a game before I buy it, I like to see what the community has to say about it, not just one reviewer.
Yeah, exactly. Also, next week we're going to be doing, I think, was it Team Fortress 2 or PlanetSide 2? Did you decide?
I hadn't really ironed it out, whatever you want to do.
All right. Well, you know what? I think so. Let's start with the oldest games first, just to get those out of the way. Then we'll start with newer free-to-play games. I think everybody's played Team Fortress 2, so most people won't have to download it. They already have their opinion pretty much in their head. So if you want, next week we are going to be reviewing Team Fortress 2, and go ahead and score it with my scoring system. Actually, not that one. I'm going to make a new one, which I should upload by Thursday.
Multiplayer scoring.
Yeah, onto the Google Docs. I'll just add an extra extension down below that. And yeah, thanks for your time. See you guys later.
Bye.